past couple years, we were able to step back a little bit in this critical analysis, looking at where's the direction that we need to put more focus. And it was around a quote that I said about 10 years ago that really came through ceremony. And that understanding was, tell the people they have to reevaluate their relationship with the sacredness of Mother Earth. Tell the people that they have to reevaluate their relationship with the sacredness of Mother Earth. There's another part to that also said, reevaluate the relationship with the female principle of Mother Earth. Is that we will continue to have a system that doesn't understand its relationship to the sacredness and the female principle of Mother Earth. We will continue to have a world that gives more rights to corporations. Why is it that of all these 25 years of our struggle, that many of our native nations as governments, as sovereign nations, and our communities, and grannies, like Roberta Blackgoat from Big Mountain, that we have to always fight to have legal standing. Fight to have legal standing to take on these cases, not in our court system, but their court system, in their colonial court system. A lot of foundations and donors say, well, we can't fund litigation because it's so expensive. We've done some of that. We've advocated for some of that. So as we go at the table, it's as if you got the corporation and their legal attorneys and their law firm just saying, they're not literally saying this, but it's like you can see it. They're saying, go ahead, come over into our circle. Come over and we'll take you on with our legal battles because we got the power here. But we still take them on, especially around the issue of human rights and also consultation. In tar sands, there's 2 cases being litigated around consultation where the province of Alberta and the federal government, Canada, did not adequately consult with the Beaver Lake Cree and the Athabascan Chippewa First Nation. It's being litigated. We have always said the issue with the tar sand is going to be a Native treaty rights issue. Back to environmental racism. I'm not saying we need funding to do this work, but there's also disparities in the amount of funding that did not go into the environmental justice movement to fund environmental justice networks and the organizing that needs to be done. But if you look at a lot of the battles that were won around people of color communities shutting down incinerators, it was around an environmental justice framework. But funders weren't funding that. Because part of the lens is that, well, white is better, so why don't you just work with the white environmental organization because they got all the tools and the expertise, and said, no, we have to build our own capacity to do this. That's what happened in the tar sands. We have always said that's a Native rights issue. Only within the past couple years, the NGOs, the environmental NGOs, non-governmental organizations, starting to understand that, yes, First Nation issues in Canada could be the driving force to shut down the tar sands. As we go along that pipeline corridor in prairie lands, we've been mobilizing, building solidarity and strategy with the tribal governments, the grassroots, the traditional societies, the youth, and our Native woman warrior societies to all work together to stand with one voice. That's part of the work that we do. Back to the critical analysis of where we're going. One of the things that we looked at that I want to talk about, when we talk about extractive economy, we talked about what this ecological economist said about the problem with a system that operates like it's liquidating Mother Earth. We're looking at a new paradigm, creating a new legal paradigm of earth jurisprudence. This is, I don't know, how many lawyers here? Raise your hand, be proud. How many lawyers? One and a half. But how do we change a system to where we have a system that's been created around property rights? Property rights. Back to where we have to struggle to have legal standing in a lot of our cases. And how do we break this power system construct that's been created? And the same way that we have demanded the rights of indigenous peoples be recognized, we have also had elders like Roberta Blackgoat from Big Mountain from Navajo Reservation, who was fighting for years to shut down Peabody Energy Company from operating a coal mine operation in her backyard. And she went to United Nations in Geneva to file a human rights complaint. And in her intervention in Geneva, she said, I'm here also to speak for those that cannot speak for themselves. I'm here to speak for the Earth Bundle. I'm here to speak for Mother Earth. She was speaking for Mother Earth. Looking back in my travels, there's been a consistency with indigenous peoples from Ecuador, from Peru, from South Africa, from the Philippines, to the Sami, to the Inuit, the Inupiat, to our indigenous peoples. We have this close relationship with nature, with Mother Earth. Some people say that corporation that's operating, they're polluting the water and they never got permission. They never got permission. They never asked the water or the river on what they were going to do. As indigenous peoples, we ask permission. We have ceremony. The Haudenosaunee, the Six Nations out east of here, they believe in the seventh generation principle. They don't make any decision that's going to have negative impact on the 7 generations to come. Kind of like the precautionary principle, eh? So, how do we create a system that recognizes Mother Earth and rights of Mother Earth? How do we do that? So we were part of a retreat in San Francisco 2 years ago. We evaluated the escalation of the collapse of the planetary system. Michael wanted me to talk about environment. I think I'm talking about environment because we are in an ecological crisis right now. We're depleting the fish in the oceans, the climate chaos. We're losing species. So what we talked about was indigenous and non-indigenous. In this meeting, some were economists. We sought the need to articulate a shared vision towards a new economy that's based on living in balance. with the natural systems, where the rights of humans do not extend to the domination of nature. The domination of nature. So the view from the shore as an indigenous person. Years ago, there was an influx of all these people that were coming into our territories. I could generally say we had a conflict in how we relate to each other. We had differences in opinion of philosophy, but deeper than philosophy. I know there's differences, and just generally saying, but many of the people had lost their understanding, their faith, did not have the teachings of their relationship to the sacredness to Mother Earth. Somewhere in their teachings is the concept of dominion. Dominion. Somewhere in that concept was that dominion. Dominion over the land. Dominion over Earth herself. And didn't view how precious that was to us, as well as themselves. So at this meeting, we're looking at a whole different framework that recognizes Earth's life capacity, living systems, and not just the enslaved property of humans. The industrialized mindset perceives Mother Earth as an enslaved property of humans. Just as it is wrong for men to consider woman property, or one race to consider another race as property, it's wrong for humans to see nature as property over which we have dominion. Very critical, because it goes into the depth of our teachings. And that's where we are at. So how do we create a paradigm shift from a jurisprudence and a legal system designed that supports the power of the ruling oligarchies, the corporations? And how do we change that? So out of that meeting, we saw the need and the call for action to take responsibility. But don't just put it on the shoulders of Tom Goldtooth and the Indigenous Environmental Network and the people from the tar sands, the Dene and the Cree. You have responsibility. You have responsibility. I have a friend that passed away, late 90s, Walt Persett, Anishinaabe. Anyone remember Walter Persett? Dr. Skadani, another person here. Was a dear friend of mine from Red Cliff, Wisconsin, Anishinaabe. Intellectual, deep thinker, a writer. He did a radio show too. And he doesn't say he was an activist, but he was always active when speaking out. And he was our representative for the Great Lakes Indigenous Environmental Network at the time. So we used to be the house band at the university in Oregon, the Land, Air, and Water Conference, law. So we used to come and speak like I'm speaking now, but I was speaking more about regulatory issues and around mining, extractive energy. And so he was there speaking, and he had a lecture room like this. And I was done with my presentation. I came to catch up to Walt Persett, and there was a table here, a table right here, and he was actually laying on the table like this, speaking into his microphone. Some of you know Walt Purcell, he's funny like that. He was just laying on his back on the table, speaking like this. And then he got up as if there was a light bulb. He said, I adopt all of you as my brothers and sisters. You are Native American now. I adopt you. And he was standing firm like this, and he was just like, I adopt you. And I was standing in the doorway, and I was thinking, oh, Walt Purcell, what are you doing? You know, they're going to now want casino per capita payments. But he said that for a purpose. Now that you are Native Americans, you have the responsibility to take care of Mother Earth. Don't leave it to Walt Purcell. You have the responsibility. Your bones are buried here now. When I was in Europe, it seems like in Europe, people were concerned about the environment. When they were going to ship nuclear waste down the railroad system, people came out in the masses. But we weren't able to do that in New Mexico during that time. So there's a need for people to come together around a movement that values nature as a foundation of life itself. And we have to look and seriously evaluate a market system that quantifies and commodifies nature and privatizes nature. Rebranding it as ecosystem services. Some of you that know me, I'm involved with climate change policy. And we had to really look at this regime called carbon trading and carbon offsets that doesn't cut emissions at source, but actually is a false solution and a mechanism by the corporation to buy carbon credits. Little pieces of paper, they can buy carbon credits. Protecting and investing in the conservation of trees in the global south. But they don't cut emissions at source like Chevron and Shell in California. No. So this privatization of nature is part of this part of something that's going on right now globally as we went to the World Trade Organization as IEN. We start to look at the whole system. And Rio Plus 20, there was a push for the green economy as being the new key for this planet's survival, the green economy. But as we looked at it, the green economy was nothing more than capitalism of nature. An attempt by corporations, extractive industries, and the governments to cash in on creation by privatizing, commodifying, and selling off the sacred in all forms of life, including the sky. Before you can trade carbon, you got to determine whose property right that is, right? It's a property right issue. So who's going to own the sky? And trade the sky of carbon and methane in a trading regime when it's a property right issue. And now in Africa, they're introducing climate smart agriculture. GMO seeds, along with you don't need to turn the soil. Corporations, mining corporations, and then pension funds are all investing now in these false solutions, buying up land. Buying up land and giving just peanuts to the small farmers who don't own the land and using it as an offset regime. Africa is wide open on this new phenomenon that's happening. So that's why we're looking at this whole system like colonization of this country was under the framework of doctrine of discovery, and that justified the new wave of colonization around the concept that we didn't have souls. Indigenous peoples didn't have souls. We were pagans. We were less than civilized. And that our territories were terra nullius, land of nobody. So this is part of that wave of neocolonialism that we need to look at under the frame of economic globalization that's being pushed. So consistent with our indigenous prophecies, there's a reawakening of the human soul and the nature of human people that are coming to realize what their relationship is to the sacredness of Mother Earth and Father Sky. Mother Earth and Father Sky is part of the creative principles that were created. As indigenous peoples, whether I'm talking to the Khoi people in Cape Town, or whether I'm talking to a tribal people in the mountains of the Philippines, or the Siriyaku in the Amazonian jungle of Ecuador, we have that common sense and common framework of our relationship, of what I'm talking about. So again, we need to shift from that philosophy of dominion over nature, dominion over self as well, to a relationship of understanding and respect for the natural laws, and love for the beauty and the creative female energy of Mother Earth. That's where we're at. It's very critical indeed. So I'm going to sing a song. I'm going to sing a song for the ones who are sitting there. I'm going to sing a song for our future generations, because not only are we fighting for the rights of healthy ecosystems, healthy watersheds, rights of nature, water, air, rights of our people to have a future, but we're also thinking about the rights of our future generations. Climate change is very critical. Oren Lyons is one of my brothers. I should call him uncle, but I have all these older men and women. All my life it's been like that, They've been more like brothers and sisters. Now I'm catching up to them, I think. But Oren came to me about 18 years ago. He said, we need to get on top of this climate change issue. They have a prophecy that said when the trees start dying from the top down, we need to reawaken the spirit of the people. And that's what we've been doing. So this song reflects that recognition of the Spirit, that Holy Spirit, as we pray out that there would be recognition from that place of who we are and what we need to do to be true to ourselves, to be true to yourself, to be true and respectful to the sacredness of the female principle of Mother Earth and Father Sky. To come to an understanding of your relationship with all life, animals, plants, insects. We have to reevaluate what that is. We have to really question the concepts of dominion. We have to really question the concepts of male dominance as well, and that balance. This is where we're at on that deep analysis of where we need to go. It's very critical, very critical. We are the most vulnerable of all the species. We got to wear clothes, eh? We are the ones that are vulnerable to the changes coming about. Mother Earth is all right. She may have to shake every now and then, and like a dog trying to get rid of its fleas. We are the vulnerable species. But we have 5 fingers. We always talk about this in our Dene Navajo people, about we are the 5-finger clan. Each one of these fingers has responsibilities, but we have the thumb. The big challenge we have as all humans, because we're all part of the 5-finger clan, how we're going to use this intellect, this brain that we've been given, to be able to reason, to be able to think, how we're going to put that together with a very destructive thumb. We pick up things and how we operate the thumb in our mind. Very critical. When we say climate change, we're also saying no war as well. The whole militarization, the whole concepts of peace, it's all woven together. So this song I'm going to sing, stand if you can. Way ya way yo 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 way hey 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 yo yo way ya way yo yo way ya ya way way ya way yo 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 way ya way ya way yo 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 way way ya way yo yo way ya hey hey way hey yo 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 way ya way yo yo. Thank you very much.